What is going on? What is going on, community? Mic check 1 2 1 2. It is TJ, aka Flash by Night, and I am in the middle of an unusually timed re-up live video. Of course, if you've been keeping up, the re-up is where I show off new comic book day books, books I got in the mail, pickups, whatever I grab throughout the week. That's where I usually come and show it off. And the past few weeks I've been doing it. I've been doing it live, trying to get more used to it. Um, I won't say I'm necessarily camera shy, but I've got to get used to being in front of people. We'll put it like that. Um, so we're doing this live, and yeah, if you are stopping by, I appreciate you for stopping by. If you catch this on the rewind, I appreciate it all the same. Um, yeah, it's the day after New Comic Book Day. Before I get too far, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you're just finding me, hit the subscribe and the notification bell. All the good YouTube things. If I know it, I'm almost sure you're used to it. So yeah, go ahead and do all those good things, all that housekeeping. And we are going to check and see who is in the chat early on. And let's see. Oh, the comic vet. Um, I forget. I think it's Chris. I almost forgot his name. If I forget your name, uh, um, I forget a lot of things. So please forgive me. But the comic vet, I think, stopped by early. We have Southern Comic Geek in the house. Of course, there's the captain. Hello, ahoy, mates and mermaids. And we have the newly branded Dream of August Media. Um, we are basically branching out from Dream of August Comics to Dream of August Media, and he's gonna cover all kinds of pop culture thing, comics and kind of movies and cartoons. I want to say anime. Um, yeah, he's gonna try to cover the whole gamut. So check out Dream of August Media. Check out everybody in the chat: Southern Comic Geek, Captain Comics, Comic Vet. Check out their stuff. Give them a sub. Give them a follow. Everybody, community wide, has great work. Puts in a lot of effort, and somebody somewhere is the right person for you to follow if you don't already follow these guys. But go ahead and give them a follow. Um, Oh, no problem. You are very welcome. I appreciate you for actually working with me early on in my YouTube infancy and kind of, sharing a little spotlight with me. Who else is this? We have Nick from Kicks and Comics. How are we doing? I really, every time you do that intro, that hey yo, I want you to follow it up with all right. It's a thing. It's like a '90s rap thing. So it's like hey yo, all right. That's it. I'm having a little fun here, but so we are going to go ahead and get started with the new comic book day haul. I'm gonna say I'm unofficially leading up to Justin Ricken and his comics tag team Thursday. Um, my schedule kind of flipped around this week. Got life things going on, and so I ended up here with this kind of time to go live. So I might as well go live. I don't know when the next time this will happen again. So I might as well take advantage. But the first thing I want to show off for New Comic Book Day is probably the one thing, maybe the one out of two things that's on everybody's pull list. Everybody grabbed this week, and it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, issue number 3. I am going to make an admission here live, and hope I don't get kicked out of the community as fast as I entered. But I have not read issues number 1 or number 2 yet. I have issue number one. In fact, I've got a couple of issues of issue one, number one. I grabbed the director's cut of one uh, to have my actual reader copy. First, I got uh, um, my first number one signed by Kevin Eastman, and it's at CGC, and so I'll see it next year. It's no big rush, but yeah. So I picked this up to read, but I have not read it yet. Two is around the house somewhere, but I have one, two, and three of the last Ronin, and maybe I'll catch up with it sometime this weekend. We'll see how that goes. Like I say, hopefully that doesn't get me either suspended or at least put on community probation for not reading Last Ronin yet. Station tomorrow. How are we doing, sir? There we go. Next book, I'm going to start down the list with the other indie books I picked up, and the first one is Philadelphia number 13. The David Mack, I think it's David Mack cover. Um, this is another book I haven't read yet. I've got a few issues of Philadelphia, 1 through 4, and a couple of other ones. And I decided I was going to go ahead and try to go down that rabbit hole and see if I can catch up on this. Catch up is almost a bad word for me. I say I'm going to catch up on things, and then I never catch up on them. But I'm going to try to catch up on Philadelphia. Not Philadelphia, Philadelphia. Yeah. My next book is a rabbit hole I always said I wasn't going to go down, but I've heard that this may be a good entry point, and I grabbed, I think this is the B cover of Spawn 318. As far as I know, 318 is going to spin off into that Spawn universe, one shot upcoming, and then of course there are going to be several new Spawn characters that get the spotlight in their own books, and so I may not follow Spawn. Is it Alfred Simmons? Al Simmons? I forget his name. I may not follow Spawn proper, but I do want to get in, and I think I'll try to catch one of these alternate Spawn characters as they start their own adventure. And yeah, new rabbit hole. My next book, when I saw the name of this book, all I thought was all I all I thought when I saw this next book was Atlanta nightlife, and I wanted to pick it up if nothing else, so I can tell my Atlanta nightlife jokes, and say I picked up the Blue Flame. As far as the synopsis to this book goes, I don't think it has anything to do with Atlanta nightlife, but the Blue Flame name just jumped out at me. So I'm gonna check this out. I think it's about an HVAC repairman in Wisconsin somewhere that I don't know becomes super powerful ambassador to Earth. I don't know. It's doing something. So we'll check this out and see what happens. And of course, I had to grab Shadow Man number 2. I grabbed Shadow Man number 1 last week, and that was my first time A, reading Shadow Man, and B, first time grabbing a Valiant book. And so yeah, I grabbed Shadow Man. It's a good read. He's hanging out with this King of the Dead type character. He's this mystical character that kind of fights half horror, half voodoo threats in Louisiana, and also as a musician. He's got a little bit of swag to him. And so we'll see how this book pans out. But I liked issue 1, and we're gonna take issue. I read the first couple of pages from issue 2, and it was a pretty funny flip. So we'll see how this book pans out. But I think it's gonna be good. And those were my, I think, what, 3, 4, 5 indies, yeah, for this week. So my next book that I picked up, new comic book day wise, is, of course, a monthly staple. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number 26, with the Clone Saga continuing. I already read this. It was kind of a quick read. It was mostly action, but they kind of stopped for a minute to point out a couple of things in the book. I continue to say that Miles is acting out of character for some reason in this book. And B, I know they used the Clone Saga, and I know we're tired of Marvel reusing names because it sounds like they're rehashing things, but a lot of times they reuse the names, but the story is nowhere near the same. I think Venom Island, which was kind of a takeoff Spider Island's name, was nowhere close to it. Heroes Reborn, which I'm also reading, I don't think is anywhere close to the Heroes Reborn story. In fact, Jonathan Hickman, I read today, is working on an X-Men book. I think he's getting off of the X-Men main title, but he's working on the X-Men book or event called Inferno, and I believe that's a callback to an older story. But there's no telling whether or not the actual story will be similar. But in the same vein, I don't think Clone Saga is similar to any of Peter's Clone Sagas. And to be quite honest, I'm kind of digging the clones. Yeah, so Clone Saga is like 4 books. I think it's Miles Morales 25 through 28. So if you haven't jumped in yet and you're curious, it's not too late to jump in, and it's not going to be that burdensome a follow in case you're not digging it all the way through. It's only like 4 issues. So yeah, you jump in and give it a try. Digging the clones. What is that? What is that? Let's see. Shadow Man's a killer. I agree. Tomorrow, I think, is also digging the Shadow Man book. Let's see. All right. So the next book I picked up because I am trying to amass an army. I don't know how well my recruiting is going, but I am trying to amass a reborn army of people who are giving Heroes Reborn a shot. As I said earlier, Marvel's are reusing some of the names from the past. I don't know if that's just to get people's eyeballs, to get attention, but the stories I don't think are the same or close to the stories that they're using the names or lifting the names from. Um, so yeah, I'm checking out Heroes Reborn. It's a weekly story, basically where the Avengers, for one reason or another, don't exist in this world. And the Earth's mightiest heroes basically are now the Squadron Supreme. And there are some killer mashups in here. There's a Doctor Doom Juggernaut mashup. I think everybody's most familiar with, but there are some other mashups. And I assume that this issue is going to be a spotlight on. I think this is Doctor Spectrum. Each issue since issue number 1 has been a spotlight on, like, half spotlight on a Squadron Supreme member and have push the overall plot forward. So you kind of get 2 stories in one with these books. So I'm assuming that this will be kind of half Doctor Spectrum book and half plot motion book. And I'm kind of excited to check it out. To be honest, there's a character named Power Princess who is supposed to remind you or be like Wonder Woman for the Squadron Supreme. And oh, it is he. It is Mr. Herbert Caldwell. He is in the building. What are we're going to talk about this account in on the side, sir. And so I'm guessing that there's a good ending to this book. So I'm gonna have to peel this open also. But I really, really want to see the Power Princess issue whenever that comes out. because the mashup that she opposes, I think that she's going to oppose in her book is kind of crazy. And I have kind of, in my short time in reading, I've liked the villain that she may have to go up against. But we'll save that for later. My last books for new comic book day itself um are basically Black Panther. So I picked up the A cover for Black Panther number 25. Funny story is that if you know me, if you've seen me around on IG or whatever, talk to me in chats, you kind of know that I've been looking for the Gleason and Peach Momoko covers for this Black Panther 25. They did not come into fruition at my shop this week. Diamond hates my life, and so they did not bring all of the Black Panther variants that my store ordered. Now, usually when that happens in a week or two, they'll show up anyway. So I'm not really worried about it. But I did not get the two I really wanted. But I do like this A cover. It kind of reminds me of Captain America in Endgame when he's kind of standing there by himself. He's I won't say physically broken, but he's physically beat up, and Thanos' whole army and his whole armada are across from him, and he kind of just stands there, and he's going to be the last man standing. Um, so this cover here kind of reminds me of that. So that's why I like the A cover. The second cover, let's see, says RB Silva on the front. This one I did not order, but there were a couple that my store just threw in my box. They're like, well, he might like these. And I'm like, well, I didn't get the ones I wanted. So I'll take what I can get, support the store. It's cool. And so I grabbed this cover, which is it's okay. I don't know if it's in my top 4 or 5 of those covers that came out, but it's kind of fun looking. And the last one was probably in my top 5. But I kind of like this. I assume this is T'Challa trying to claw his way back to being the Black Panther. For those who didn't check out this last run, and I didn't check out the last run, but it was like an intergalactic Empire of Wakanda story. And so what happened is that I got into comics, actually reading and picking up comic books around the time of the Black Panther movie. And when the Black Panther movie dropped, the Marvel legacy was kind of ushered in, and and I decided that I wanted to try Black Panther since the Black Panther movie was dropping. I do like this. I think behind the Peach and behind the Gleason covers and the A cover, I think this may be fourth or fifth for me. But I didn't mind having this cover. But yeah, so I wanted to check out Black Panther. Oh, is the algorithm in the house? How are you doing, sir? Yeah, I wanted to check out Black Panther around the time the movie came out, but they were going into space and it was a whole different thing. And I'm a new comic reader. I want to read something basic. And so for me, that was probably the worst time to have this story. But now that I'm a few years into reading, I'm interested in how the story went. So I may go back and check it out. There we go again. I may go back and catch up. It's not going to happen. But if it does happen, I'll let you know. All right. And so one more bonus book I got. It's not for a new comic book day, but I got it in this week. Batman 108, the Rose Best cover. I believe she's one of the more popular artists these days. And so I grabbed the set with the trade dress and the minimal dress. And I kind of let the trade dress go already to somebody, but I really want the minimal dress, and I'm gonna hold on to it. Maybe get it graded and see what happens to it in about a year or so. We'll see. We'll see how Miracle Molly herself pans out. I think a lot of people like her character. Um, the Miracle Mollies of the world and the punchlines of the world. They kind of have to work their way past that next Harley barrier, and I think she's already worked her way past that. And so maybe she'll stick around, and yeah, maybe this will blow up for me. I don't know. Let's see. FBK. I One day I'm gonna work FBK in. I've seen it around. I'm pretty sure you said that a couple of times, Agu. I may work that in one day. There's also a wrestler called LA Knight with WWE's NXT, and he does this thing where he says he is LA Knight, and I may try to steal that. I may not. I don't know. I'm just being silly now. So I have a few back issues, but I also have something I want to share with you. If you are live, if you're listening, I want to spoil something real quick, and I'll give you a countdown to this spoiler. But I read Flash issue 770. It came out last week, I believe. And what happens in the Flash lately is that Wally is back as the Flash, but not on purpose. Wally came back, and Wally wanted to go and be a family man because DC kind of jerked him around for a few years. He's been away from his family. He's been out in the Speed Force, all this good stuff. So he came back and he wanted to be a family man. He wanted Barry to help him separate himself from the Speed Force to make sure that he doesn't come back and try to be heroic. And Barry reluctantly says yes, but Wally ends up getting thrust through the Speed Force, through time, into other speedsters. And so he ends up in the body of like this speedster caveman, who I don't know whether or not he existed or not. And then he ends up in the body of Bart Allen, who is like Barry's nephew for the future. And then he ends up getting thrust in this issue into Jay Garrick. Now, the reason why I want to spoil something is that I can't hold it in. If I don't tell somebody what's in the back of this book, I'm going to spontaneously combust. And if I spontaneously combust without leaving my books to somebody, then I don't know who's going to get them. Actually, I know who's going to stop by. I know who's going to stop by and get my books if I spontaneously combust. And he'll be sad for a minute. Then he'll come get my books. But I am going to give a spoiler warning and a countdown as to what speedster and what time frame Wally is going to end up in. I'm going to go ahead and get a 5-second spoiler countdown, and then I'll give 5 seconds or 5 or 10 seconds, and then let you know if you're not watching, if you close your eyes, let you know when I'm through with my spoiler. But in 5 seconds, I'm going to show you the last page of this book. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is where Wally ends up by the time 771 starts. I know most of you know what this picture is. I know most of you know where this picture is from, what show this is from, but this is where Wally ends up by the time Flash 771 rolls around. All right, so if you are still listening but not looking, 5, 4, I'm going to take it down, 3, 2, 1. All right, your spoiler alert is over, but I had to show somebody what's in this book. Yeah, I am looking forward to Flash 771. That's not even a new comic book day thing, but I had to show it. So my next few books I picked up this week are not from New Comic Book Day, but they're books I got in, and again, more wormholes that I didn't think I was going to go down. but I'm going down. So a few months ago, I bought Iron Fist: Heart of the Dragon issue number one. I read it; it was okay. I don't know if I was gonna continue it, but then I saw in the previews magazine the cover for issue number six, and I will say that the cover for issue number six has Iron Fist and Okoye, and I think that it is teasing something. I'm gonna let you put two and two together, but I think that there's a tease on the cover of Iron Fist: Heart of the Dragon issue number six. So that being said, I found issue number two for $1, and I picked up issue number three today. So neither one of these are really new comic book day books per se, but I want to check them out and probably find four or five somewhere down the road. But definitely, if six is going to turn out making a Okoye spoiler, two and two together. If Iron Fist 6 is going to do something to Okoye, I want at least one or two copies of that book. Also, I've been catching up on the Women's Month covers, and the one I was most jealous of, the one that I did not have, and I really wanted, I saw for like $2, snatched it up, and it is the Avengers She-Hulk Miami Vice cover. Like when these covers started coming out, I skipped the first few, and when I skipped this one immediately, I was like, you know what? I have to go back and find that book someday. I don't even want to read it. I just like the cover. I've got a few more of these Women's Day covers, Women's Month covers, and so I had to go back and find Miami Vice She-Hulk. What is going on, Copy 801? How are you doing, sir? All right. My next two books, again, not necessarily new comic book day books, but I finally picked up my copy of Silk number two. Um, I have a copy of Silk number one on the way. And so I've had this book in my pull box for like a month. And I kept telling Chad at Quality Comics to, just put Silk back, I'll get her later. Put Silk back, I'll get her later. Put Silk back, I'll get her later. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and grab Silk. Let me stop putting her on the back burner. And so I grabbed Silk number two. And since I was there, I went ahead and picked up Silk number three. And apparently this lady here may be the main antagonist. I don't know anything about her. I haven't read Silk. I don't know much about Silk at all. But it's one of those books. Don't do that. Grab it now. Do it now. Now. Yeah. So I grabbed number three. And so as soon as my number one gets in, I give those three a read and see how it goes. And my last book that I picked up for not new comic book day, but it's new to me. Star Wars High Republic number one, the fifth print. Um, I don't know if it's the last print. I don't know if it's very highly printed, but I wanted to go ahead and grab this fifth print. I like the kind of black and white gray shade they did on the front of it, except for the lightsaber and the title. Um, and who knows? This may be a lower printed version, and it may gain some traction in a month or two or three or 10. Who knows? And if not, I got the book. It's not a bad deal. And so those were all of my. Oh, I've yanked my cord. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, don't yank your cord. Those are my new comic book day books, and other pickups for the week. Um, yeah, it was a pretty good week. It was not a good week for my one man gang that I call Team Small Hall. Team Small Hall did not come through this week because this was definitely not a small haul for me. Um, I had a $20 credit at my LCS, so I got a little bit off of that total, but it was still not a small haul, which is okay. Um, I had fun, grabbed some books to read, hopefully grabbed a at least a decent spec book with a popular new artist. Of course, picked up one of the books that everybody's picking up. I'm probably going to get kicked out for not picking up Something's Killing the Children or Department of Truth because I haven't really followed them. I read the first 5 issues of Department of Truth recently, digitally, and it was okay. It wasn't a story that made me want to run back and immediately jump on issue number 6. It didn't grab me like it grabs everybody else. Um, but that is cool. That is cool. Like they say, read what you like, collect what you like. Everybody's happy. I think that's a big reason why our community survives because you know I like one thing, Tomorrow likes one thing, Kabe likes one thing, and we all get what we like, and we come together, we share, and it's all cool. So Mazataka TV. Wait a minute, I know who that is. How are you doing today, sir? What are you doing? You should be you should be on the grind right now. Um, but yeah, so that's what I got this week, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off. Yeah, so I'm happy that everybody came to join me. Happy everybody jumped on the stream. I'm going to hop off. So A, I can take care of some business, and B, so you can go to Justin Ricken and his comics in about 13 minutes. Look at me looking at my wrist with no watch. In about 12 minutes, you can go to Justin Ricken and his comics and jump on the train that is known as Tag Team Thursday and see what everybody else grabbed for a new comic book day. But as for me, you know what I say: love yourself, love others, and I will be back in a flash.